Look, look what one evil little boy brought to Sunday school. And he's late for Sunday school also. Okay, I know it's Sunday. I know it's Sunday school. I was down at the coffee shop. Beautiful morning. Took a nice walk. Sitting at the coffee shop. What am I going to do for Sunday school? And I've been plugging my new book, An Accidental Christ, and I've got all of these biblically things running through my brain. And all of a sudden, I kid you not, in pure magical visionary style, that portion of the Michelangelo's painting of on the Sistine Chapel, there is a little vignette in that great painting, the same painting that shows God reaching from the clouds to touch Adam's finger. That right in that same area that depicted various biblical events, is God pulling down his pants and showing Moses his butt. Now, if you don't believe me, just Google God's butt, Michelangelo, or God's ass. Okay, and there it is, and those puffy little rosy God cheeks appeared in my vision, and I said, "Well, it's Sunday school. Let's preach from the Bible." Okay, and maybe actually challenge you, or the Kabbalists among you, to do a little fun, recreational Kabbalistic gematria kind of exercises. But anyway, and that's all I'm going to do. Okay, I'm not going to keep you long. But anyway, this Bible that I'm holding like an overstuffed sandwich is the very Bible that I was given. I talk about this Bible in my Life of the Spirits when there it is. The Bible is presented to Lon DuQuette. Actually, they called me Lonnie in those days. The First Methodist Church. Now, isn't it terrible they didn't put a date on that thing at all? But it's signed by a very wonderful, wonderful man, Reverend Alan Justad, a Methodist minister who was, he was not a hellfire and brimstone kind of guy. But this happened like when I was 9 or something like that. So in 1956, 57. And I was presented this Bible for completing the equivalent of what you would call in the Catholic Church, you'd call it catechism, but it was the horrible child abuse that disguising itself as summer Bible camp kind of thing. And I'd graduated and everything, and he held up all the graduates who were about that age were getting ready to, I guess it's the Methodist equivalent at the time of being confirmed. Well, I was just a little atheist, okay? Truly. I'd been an atheist since the crib. I'd say I couldn't believe people, grown-ups, believe this shit. But anyway, I was a good sport, and my duties at the church were somehow seemed sacred to me, sacred without a God to clutter it up. It was just sacred to me. But this is the one that he held up, and I came up, and I was still in my, because I was sort of like an altar attendant. I ceremonially lit the candles that opened every service and snuffed the candles that closed every service. And I got to walk in with my sacred flame to the choir singing music, and I loved it. I loved that shit. But anyway, he calls me up and introduces me. Lon's our little, he opens, he's a candle lighter, and he's got he's got this Bible in his hand, and he said, he turns me around toward the crowd, and he said, "Lonnie, do you believe in Jesus?" And I lied. Yes. And then he says, Lon's our candle lighter and opens the service and stuff like that. And we're sure he's going to be a wonderful man of God. That's what he said. And I didn't mind that at all, because I wanted sort of to be like Reverend Allen, except I didn't want to have anything to do with the God thing. But he was such a cool guy, had a beautiful wife, got to live in a nice little, it was just work once a week. That's my kind of thing, And, but anyway, I lied because I wanted this Bible. Not that it meant anything, but I worked my ass off. I sweated in that sweltering basement for all of those Bible school meetings and tests and things like that. I earned that goddamn Bible, so I lied. But I digress. That's all in My Life of the Spirits. I think that's where it is. Anyway, God's ass. Back to God's ass. Here it is. In Exodus, mostly chapter 33, and it goes into 34 too. Moses has got the children of Israel out on that 40-year camp out wandering around that 5 square mile area, or whatever the tiny area they were supposed to be wandering around for 40 years. And he displeased God in a couple times, one thing or another, and of course the people themselves were just terrible, and they were always pissing God off and everything else. But that's a story in and of itself. Genesis and Exodus, particularly, are sort of written in a weird way, and they use strange and unique Kabbalistic Hebrew words to actually say a sentence, in normal Hebrew, you'd use other words and things like Bereshit, that first word in the beginning. But anyway, let's see. This is just before he's sent up to the mountain to cut 2 tablet stones and bring down he was trying to get everybody's act together. But let's see here. Thus the Lord, this is so Sunday school. And when all the people saw the pillar of cloud standing at the door of the tent, That means Moses was like meditating in his tent, and there was a tornado out in front of his doorway. And when people saw the tornado, they said, well, it looks like God's talking to Moses again. Thus the Lord used to speak to Moses face to face, as a man speaks to his friend. When Moses turned again into the camp, his servant Joshua, son of Nun, Hebrew letter Nun, which means fish, Scorpio, the death card, turned on his servant Joshua, son of Nun, a young man, did not depart from the tent. So Joshua hung around. Moses said to the Lord, see, thou sayest to me, bring up this people. But thou hast not let me know whom thou wilt send with me. Yet thou hast said, I know you by name, and you have also found favor in my sight. Now, therefore, I pray thee, if I found favor in thy sight, show me now thy ways, that I may know thee and find favor in thy sight. Okay? If you can imagine a flying saucer person telling you to do all sorts of inscrutable things, and you go, yeah, you know, we're all really impressed down here, but, you know, exactly show me what to do. What do I do with these people? What am I to do now? And he said, my presence will go with you, and I will give you rest. Well, obviously that's one of the initial promises unfulfilled for a few thousand years. And he said to him, if thy presence will not go with me, do not carry us up from here. You know, hey, if you're not with me, don't let us budge. For how shall it be known that I have found favor in thy sight, I and thy people? Is it not in thy going with us, so that we are distinct, and I and thy people from all the other peoples that are upon the face of the earth? And the Lord said to Moses, this very thing that you have spoken I will do, for you have found favor in my sight, and I know you by name. And then Moses said, I pray thee, show me thy glory. Now, many of us sort of recognize that same request coming out of the mouth of Zeus's girlfriend. Semele, nymph, daughter of the river god. He would sneak into her bedchamber every night and frolic with her. But because he was a god, he had to put on all sorts of heavy pajamas and masks, and because he was fire. Okay, so he really had to insulate himself. It was the original infinite, eternal prophylactic that he had to throw over his whole body in order to go make love to Semele. And she said, why are you dressed in all of this all this clothes? Come on, I want to run my fingers through your chest hair, you know. And he goes, no, you know, I'm God, and you'll fry if I show you my chest hair. And well, one night she tricked him into promising by the river Styx, and that's an oath you can't break, that he'd do anything she said. And so he promised, I swear I love you, baby. Love you so much, I'll do anything you say. I swear by the river Styx, I'll do anything you say. And she said, okay, let me run my fingers through your chest hair without your pajamas on. And he couldn't not do it. So he took his pajamas off, turned into a ball of eternal creative flame, fried the daylights out of her. And before she completely burnt to a crisp, he reached into her womb and salvaged their child, who would soon be the god Dionysus. But I digress. Moses and God weren't quite like that. But Moses was sort of in that same position as Semele, saying, let's see, I pray thee, show me thy glory. And I'm sure if we'd looked that up in the Blue Letter Bible, that would translate chest hair. And he said, God said back, I will make all my goodness pass before you, and I will proclaim you before my name, the Lord. I will be gracious to whom I will be gracious. I will show mercy on whom I will show mercy. But, he said, you cannot see my face. For man shall not see me and live. And the Lord said, behold, there is a place by me where you shall stand upon a rock, and while my glory passes by, I will put you in a cleft of the rock, and I will cover you with my hand until I have passed by. Then I will take away my hand, and you will see my butt. Well, it says my backside. But my face shall not be seen. Well, it's that verse that Michelangelo was showing on the ceiling of the Sistine Chapel. Now, if that amuses you, and you have even kind of preschool Kabbalistic skills and tools at your disposal, you might want to get out or Google a Hebrew-English dictionary and look up arse, backside, butt, ass, and look up the letters. Okay, now there's a kind of a classic buttocks, the Oyin Gimel Bet Yud, and actually that's a mem final. Let's see, I believe that's a mem final. So let's just put a line on it like that. Okay, and that would generally add up to 145. And if you'd look up it in your lexicons and everything else, first of all, 145 is one number greater then 12 squared, which has all sorts of 144 is 12 squared. And you might, reach for a Kabbalistic pun and say, oh, that's gross. But 144, get it? Okay. But it's kind of important words for 144. And to put one more onto that would the classic add one for unity. But let's not even play that game. 145, the numerical value of the 13 paths. Okay, those are the Hebrew letter, the paths. That is called in Hebrew the beard of the macroproposis. Okay. In other words, the paths of the tree of life, indicating the mesla, the influence from Godhead down the tree of life. It's a huge number. Show you my backside, or buttocks in Hebrew, also enumerates 145 to the word the staff of God, and that is the rod of Ammon that Aaron used to do all of the magic in Genesis and Exodus. It wasn't Moses' rod that did all that goodies. It was Aaron's rod. He loaned it to Moses from time to time. Also for the word inscrutable and the word of feast. Okay. Now you can do all sorts of stuff with that, because the whole purpose for Kabbalistic exercises is for you to get your brain going, connecting everything in the universe with everything else. So that's what I'm going to leave you with today in your Sunday school lesson. God's butt. Go forth, my children, on this beautiful Sunday and Kabbalistic play with God's butt. Do what thou wilt shall be the whole of the law. Love is the law, love under will.